I've told this story maybe twice in my life, and even now, years later, I still get goosebumps thinking about it. It happened back in 2018 when I was 21 and living alone for the first time. I had just moved into this small one-bedroom apartment on the edge of town, the kind of place that looked decent enough online, but in person felt off. The neighborhood was quiet. Too quiet. At night, all you could hear were distant dogs barking or the occasional car driving past on the main road half a mile away. My apartment was on the ground floor. It had one big window facing the parking lot and a back door that led out to a narrow alley. The landlord told me it was safe because the area had cameras, but I found out later most of them didn't even work. It started on a Friday. I'd just gotten home from work, microwaved some leftovers, and crashed on the couch with my laptop. I remember the exact time, around 11:45 p.m., because I'd just clicked on a YouTube video when I heard it. Tap, tap, tap. It came from the living room window. 3 slow, deliberate taps. Not like a branch or wind or like someone was testing the glass. I froze. At first, I told myself it was nothing. Probably some drunk neighbor. But curiosity got the better of me, and I peeked through the blinds. No one. The parking lot was empty except for my car. A single streetlight flickered a few meters away, casting those weird shadows that make everything look alive. I went back to my couch, trying to shake it off. But then, it happened again. Tap, 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 same rhythm. This time closer, like the sound was right next to my ear. I didn't look again. I just turned off the lights and sat there in the dark, listening. The tapping stopped. But then I heard footsteps. Soft, dragging ones, moving slowly toward the back of the apartment. My heart started pounding. There was no reason anyone should be back there. The alley was gated. The only people who used it were the trash collectors, and they didn't come at midnight. I crept toward the kitchen where the back door was. The only light came from the small window above the sink, and the moonlight outside was just enough to see the silhouette of the door handle. And then I saw it move. The handle twitched. Not once, but twice, like someone was testing it. You know that feeling when adrenaline hits so fast it makes your stomach twist? That's exactly what I felt. I grabbed the first thing I could find, a kitchen knife, and just stood there, frozen. Then I heard a whisper. A man's voice. Low, shaky, like he was talking to himself. I couldn't make out the words, but I swear it was something like, "Come on, open up." My hand was trembling so badly the knife was clinking against the counter. I backed away, grabbed my phone, and called 15, the police emergency line. While the operator was asking for my address, I heard the most distinct sound, the metallic click of someone trying to open the lock. The voice on the phone told me to stay quiet and hide. So I did. I ran into the bathroom and locked myself in. It's a tiny space, no window, no way out. I turned off the lights and pressed my ear against the door. The apartment was dead silent for about 10 seconds. Then came the creaking of the back door handle again, harder this time. And then a bang, like someone threw their shoulder into it. The frame rattled. I wanted to scream, but my voice wouldn't come out. Another bang, then another. The operator said officers were on their way. But I knew. If that lock gave out before they arrived, I was done. Then everything stopped. No more banging. Just footsteps again, slowly walking toward the bathroom. I could hear them brushing against the wall, dragging what sounded like something metal. When they stopped right outside the door, I could hear breathing, slow, heavy. I pressed my hand against my mouth, praying they couldn't hear me. There was a pause, then, in a whisper so faint it barely sounded human, he said, "I know you're in there. That's when I lost it." I screamed as loud as I could. I heard quick footsteps, a running this time, followed by the front door slamming open and shut. Seconds later, the police sirens echoed in the distance. The cops showed up within minutes. They searched the alley, the parking lot, even the woods behind the building, but whoever it was had vanished. The officer told me the back door's lock had fresh scratches. Someone had tried forcing it with a screwdriver or key. He said it looked like a targeted attempt, meaning they probably knew I lived alone. They never found him. I moved out 2 weeks later. A few days before I left, I stopped by the office to drop off my keys. The landlord looked at me and said, "You're not the first tenant to hear that tapping at night." Apparently, 2 years before I moved in, a woman living in that same unit had a break-in. She survived, but the guy was never caught. That night, I slept at a friend's place for the last time before my flight out of town. Around 2 a.m., I got a notification on my phone, a motion alert from my old apartment's security camera I'd forgotten to turn off. The footage showed the back door, and in the grainy darkness I saw the handle turn, slowly, deliberately, before the figure looked straight into the camera. He smiled, and then the screen went black. I still don't know who he was, or what would have happened if the lock had broken that night. All I know is, every time I hear tapping on my window now, even from a branch or rain, my chest tightens, and I remember that whisper. I know you're in there. Which story scared you the most? Comment below, and subscribe for more true horror stories.